Here's one of our slow worms chucking into a juicy waxworm. So it's well known that slow worms eat slugs and worms in the wild. They also are found under rocks, also where there's ant nests with ant larvae, which is a big fat juicy grub. And the slow worms, scalation and hard smooth skin, if you like, the scales on its surface, are really excellent for sort of deterring ant bites, and they'll feast on the ant larvae. But they'll eat all kinds of things. A big slow worm's quite a formidable lizard, and they certainly don't only eat worms and slugs, that is for sure, although I think a slug and a worm is pretty much their favourite. So we're here in the outdoor enclosure. Ours get natural food. We regularly freshen a compost up under that bark where that guy's disappeared to, with worms and slugs in. But each week, this enclosure here gets a top up of small crickets, mealworms and waxworms, and they're thrown in ad lib to make sure there's at least a weekly feast for these amazing reptiles and amphibians. Well, a few years ago now, my first introduction to the wonderful mangrove snake, a definite must-have species if you love your colubrid snakes. What a stunner. Now, it's hard to see from this image, but this is black-headed pythons that I reared and grew on to full breeding size, actually mating. A real high point in my snake breeding time. Equally, rearing up several small P. metallica tarantulas to adulthood. I've still got these guys. Again, utter stunners. This isn't my image, it was sent to me by a wildlife photographer friend. Wasp orb weaver spiders. Wow, I remember seeing these as a youngster when on holiday in the Mediterranean region, and now they've made it all the way up from the south of England, even up to the Midlands where I live, and beyond. Beautiful creatures indeed. First time I saw one, you know, my mind was blown as a kid. What a spider. If you ever find yourself in Queensland, Australia, definitely get yourself to Steve Irwin's Zoo, Australia Zoo. The best, most immaculate, biggest zoo I've ever been to. Enclosure sizes beyond belief. A must-see place if you ever get the chance, for sure. See the video on the channel. No one's covered his eggs.
No.
You know what you're doing? Like, with snakes? Okay. Oh my god. Oh my goodness.
That is a snake, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I keep a lot of them.
Okay, yeah, so you've
But
obviously not...
to see one in the wild, a python in the wild for us is like that.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's cool for you. Oh my goodness.
Good spot.
Yeah.
That's a great bit kit, isn't it?
How did you spot him?
Just because I'm always looking.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is beautiful.
Oh, that's amazing.
Pretty chilled out as well. Look at that.
Doesn't seem to care.
Nah, I'll be careful though.
Yeah.
Got good old gnashes on that.
Yeah.
One. You can go there.
Better to be safe.
Look at that.
Fantail coming in over there.
Made my day, that is.
Thanks
So
for
glad
giving us that
everybody- I'm so glad everybody
experience.
went, 'cause I really wanted to
None of
pick it
us
up, but I
would
didn't
be
want to
game
get
enough to do that. Like,
Really?
no.
And of course, remember, we've just quickly flicked the lights on after dark. The dragoness herself is out. A female mangrove. She's now 6 feet long, and she spends her nights prowling around, hunting for food. If you try and pick this girl up now, you will get bitten. But pick her up in the daytime when she's sleeping. Very tractable animal indeed. No problem at all. Absolute split personality. Jekyll and Hyde, a monster by night, calm and relaxed by day. Incredibly interesting creatures are mangrove snakes, and we're glad to have them here for sure. Well, remember that breeding pair of black-headed pythons? They actually produced albino young, which would be incredibly valuable due to their rarity. but the only time I bred them, I think three eggs that were albinos didn't hatch. If I was more skilled on the subject, I think it's a possibility due to how far they went development wise. Now here in the UK, keeping great crested newts isn't just about them being captive bred. You've got to have sort of a paperwork trail to say they've been captive bred, a line of captive bred great crested newts from pre-1981 when the wildlife law changed. So in the UK, the person's talked to is Lee Brinley at UK Crested Newts. His channel is awesome. He's line breeding common frog morphs now, something no one's hardly doing at all in the world. So check out UK Crested Newts on Facebook and YouTube. These are from him, and they're currently deciding that one of the worms was going to be the tastiest. So battle is commencing. Poor old wormy. For sure, I started keeping these things. They would have been illegally as a kid, who knew? There was a pond locally where you'd even find albinos. So I was just keeping these as a wild caught animal as a kid. And like all the stuff I kept, it was British, and then I got into tropical and rare and big and all unusual reptiles and invertebrates. As I've become older, the things that fascinate me more than ever, UK wildlife, or stuff that I found, in Europe as a kid, just over the water. I've certainly gone full circle, and I find a lot of herp keepers, they do that. They go through that phase of starting with stuff they caught as a kid to stuff they could buy, exotic stuff from pet shops, maybe breeding rare and unusual stuff as they've become older and got a job and everything else, and then going back to the more local and perhaps rare stuff to breed that kind of thing. And I think that's where outdoor keeping in the UK has again had a resurgence. So, due to our house fire causing the loss of two of my most prized reptiles, one of them, a young celebensis locality Asian water monitor baby that was absolutely stunning. Something that's been, if you like, a replacement is this ordinary looking, much more ordinary looking baby Asian water monitor. Just shedding her skin at the moment. She's already growing lots and getting a lot tamer. Those of you that remember the gorgeous little celebensis bright yellow spots, just terrific. Much more beautiful than maybe this one, but hopefully the personality will shine through. Yellowtail Crebo, just about to put on some new clothes. 8-foot male, his girlfriend's 4-year-old female. Oh, blow me down. Whoa, don't mess with my skin, he says. Good clutch of eggs this year running. If you want to get into indigo snakes or Crebos and you're in the UK, check out kingsnakes.co.uk because there's a very special pair, a very special pair of yellowtail Crebos, including this 8-foot giant colubrid male available. Whoa, see if we can find him some food. On the British theme, having the pleasure to keep smooth snakes for a few years, absolutely fascinating. Sadly, the female passed during one of her bremations for no real reason, and the male was passed on to another breeder. Captive bred European stock, but pretty similar to the UK smooth snakes. Absolute gorgeous creatures. Let's see if I can get this creature in there. Maybe. Go on then. I was going to say maybe with its current little hidey hole, but maybe not. Maybe they've been apart too long. They fancy a bit of rumpy pumpy. Well, Clint's Reptiles tells us birds are reptiles, so I've got to let a couple of my falconry birds and birds of prey slip through the net, haven't I? Goshawk when I was 21 years old, where it all began really. Well, breeding yellowtail crebos, especially from when I grew on from a hatchling and then breeding, definite massive highlight in my snake keeping career. A real, you know, wow, wanting to breed Drymarchon or just keep Drymarchon most of my life, so to go on to keep them and breed them, special. This little stickleback certainly proves the beauty of British wildlife. So the big male black rat snake, the albino, he's been back indoors now, out of the outdoor enclosure, sort of in hospital I guess, suspected sunburn, and you can absolutely see that it was. He's shed his skin again now. Often snakes that have got injuries or damage or even just feel sick and ill, they'll shed more often. I was trying to make themselves better or clear out their skin, but have a look. You can see all that sunburn. Obvious when you think about it, but something I didn't even consider, keeping snakes under direct, real sunshine outdoors, is of course, they don't know that they're albinos. They don't know they're lacking in pigment. Look at that. So sunburnt just like a human. Thankfully now that's all healed up, or it's not healed up, but that skin shed has got all the dirt off and the scabs off, and that's going to heal up now. But learn something new every day. And as I said in a previous video, you would actually think it's obvious. Pigs, we know pigs, white pigs get sunburnt, and so on and so forth. We know fair-skinned people get sunburnt far more than dark-skinned people, and yet I didn't even give it a thought until the symptoms showed up. So bless him. So he's been brought indoors and he's been hydrated, you know, make sure he's got plenty of water, slightly damp coir, and he's looking on the mend now, bless him, a lot better than he did. Outdoor enclosures, possibly not for everything, certainly when it comes to non-wild type colour morphs, certainly those lacking in pigment or very little pigment. One thing everybody loves, certainly at work, is tortoises, and the giant sulcatas or the giant leopard tortoise are always big hits. They're just so big. Once again, this time European, but look at the beauty of the European stuff. Fire salamanders. Bred sand lizards, only from 2024, but they're already way bigger than this now in 2025. Stunning little creatures, fascinating. And although it is a European lineage, pretty much, you know, Britain's rarest lizard for sure. Equally too, the young captive bred sand lizards. Look at that. Equally soaking up that last warmth of autumn. Let's hope they're still here in the winter. or rather, in the spring. Even these come back. Can these come back up to your hand, Jason?
Yep.
So like our adders can't get back up at you if you hold them at arm's length?
No.
That is gorgeous, isn't it? Look at that. I thought it was going to be longer than that. They're a stocky snake, aren't they? Does it musk? Or am I
Yep.
imagining it? Yeah, that's a stocky snake, isn't it? When we saw the back end of that, I thought it was going to be about 6 feet long. That is beautiful. These are my favourite, I think. I know they're like common, but they're beautiful, aren't they? Absolutely terrific. Are they breeding at this time of year?
Yeah.
Yeah, do they I read that they dance like adders, like the males all combat.
Yeah, the males will combat, yep.
Surely this sizable thing's a female, or is it the other way around with these?
No, the other way around, males are the bigger ones.
Oh.
Very rarely. The biggest one I've ever seen was about 6 foot, and I've only ever really seen like 2 that big.
Oh, okay, so this is a good size one.
Yeah.
Oh, it's just stunning, isn't it? What a shame it's sloughing, but it's actually, at least it's coming out of slough, isn't it?
Yeah.
Hello. So you can still see there's a bit of nerves there. Obviously that's aggression, but it's nervous aggression. We have to put the camera in his face. It's a very different animal, tongue flicking, whereas a few months ago he would have just froze. And I can tell you now, certainly now, he'll take food straight out my fingers. So this guy's getting, that was my wife's nose, not a bottom. He's getting to be a completely different animal. And that's good, because I don't want to grab him when it's rehoming time. I want him to come quietly so our relationship doesn't go backwards. Fancy having to give that out as your home address. I'm just about to start a sort of big clean out. I always spot clean and check water bowls, but it's a once a week big clean out for everything. Double check, triple check, you know, that kind of thing. In the reptile room. Weird things have happened the last couple of days. So over there, that little plant had fallen off down on the floor. And then today I've just come in, and this enclosure that's waiting for me to build it, really, that's been like this now for 6 months or more, those 2 panels have fallen forward against this box. Absolutely smacking of an escaped snake or reasonable sized snake or something, but nothing's out. It's weird. Either I've got a ghost in here, or at some point I'm going to suddenly find that something is missing and it's patrolling the room, but as far as I can tell, absolutely not. So a bit spooky, but you just never know. The mangrove looking as good as ever. The sunburnt albino black rat snake, well, this was him before, and this was him recovered from sunburn. What a totally different looking snake. Even looks like a different morph. So a non-reptile keeping friend called Alf holidayed or honeymooned with his wife in New Zealand. And I said, "You ever seen any tuatara?" He said, "What are they?" Below me down a couple of days later, he sent this picture. Found one. Talk about make me jealous with envy. So this year I tried to breed tarantulas, green bottle blues. Tried it my own way. Successful first time, and the offspring that I produced doing really well. He needs to come out now, get in that new home. Look at the size of him. Then we can get us a real good scrub up.
Look, Lils.
Wow. Another video sent in by a friend, Evan in Texas. It's a falconry friend who's started falconry. Got a ranch out in Texas. And, oh, again, someone else making me so jealous with what they can find. So fancy this, just basically on your own patch of land in the spring, diamondback rattlesnakes combating. What a spectacle. I've only ever seen adders do this once when I was a kid, but to see big rattlesnakes dancing like this, oh goodness me, how would you ever get any work done if that was your land with all the reptile life? Look at them that you could just find on your doorstep. Mind-blowing. What beautiful creatures. And yet, you know, so maligned, like all snakes. Look at them go. Just stunning. Well, as if the rattlesnakes aren't enough, what about finding huge Texas indigo snakes on your property? The size of that. Indigo snake, basically wild in your garden. Good God, I live in the wrong part of the world for sure. What's this for a good looking grass snake that my son found at work? Hunting the toads and the great crested newts in the work pond. Real love of mine, and I still have them, are false water cobras. It's not the first species I've bred, but it's the first species of snake I really tried to breed, and was again a successful first time, luckily. Vietnamese blue beauty snakes that I've grown on from tiny babies that I breed now most years. I love this species. All right. Now my plan is this guy's going on some big old brackets on the wall. Well, not him, it's not going to be mounted and stuffed, but his vivarium up off the ground, and he'll be my one pet snake. Really hope this guy lives a long old life. Very expensive in the UK, or certainly were when I bought this guy. But the Eastern indigo snake is the snake of my childhood dreams. And he's growing on nicely indeed. Lovely creature. What a beauty. Let's have a look. What is it? Tell me what it is. Let's have a look at the froggy.
Mummy, look, who's holding it?
Let's have a look. Lily, let's have a look at the froggy. Ah, I bet he's hating that.
Put him in the water.
Go on.
He's gone into freeze mode.
Yeah, it has, yeah.
Bro, I'll put him on a lily pad.
Oh,
Careful, don't fall in, bro.
go. Wow, there he is.
Yay! My lily down here.
Has he got a name? Is his name Froggy?
Hi,
Give him a little
Froggy.
poke on his bum.
Hold the
Not you, Elsie.
Go on, give him a little poke.
Hey!
He's swimming. Did he do splash?
Yeah.
Again, which is sent in from Evan in Texas. The horned toad, what a great lizard species that is, capable of squirting blood out of its eyes in some weird defence against predators. Amazing animals, very specialist anteaters, and not really the sort of thing you can keep in captivity for very long successfully, or they certainly never used to be. Sand lizards. I can get through the wire. Look at that, full zoom, but doubled in size easily. So they're getting crickets and even small cockroaches thrown in. Only every couple of weeks, but if you look at you can't see it, the plants flowering there, covered in flies. There's a lot of natural food in there. Where's it gone? Look at that. I haven't seen one for ages. Beautiful. So they're 8 foot by 8 foot enclosure. Spotting them isn't always easy. And next door, the viperines, there's one there. Well, there's 2 big grass snakes out. But they are quick to retreat, grass snakes, especially when they're in a place. The public only walk one once at the weekend or one day of the week, so they're not really, they're a flighty species and they're not really acclimated the same. And they're very wild in their mind when they're outdoors, for sure. So the 16 foot by 8 foot adder area, unfortunately, is just something that is a weed haven that we regularly weed, but have left it at the moment just for butterflies and things. Sadly, open at the weekends, we just can't get enough people to come out to make it worth me spending £2,000 on building that, which was all part of the plan 2 years ago now, and getting a DWA licence from the council, who haven't really issued one ever, I don't think, here, and just passing the buck. So a lot of hassle pushing them along to get a licence, and expensive, because they make it expensive as much as they can to put you off here in Northamptonshire. Did apply for one years ago to keep beaded lizards, and as often is the case, just a run around and everything, because no one wants to sign off a DWA. Someone's just moved down there and I've missed it, but yeah, too hot under there for me slow worms. So very sad, because I was hoping that to be the absolute feature point of these outdoor enclosures. It was a large naturalistic adder area, which they're just so not tame, they're just not flighty like grass snakes. They're just so photogenic. They're out all the time. But yeah, you try these things. That's what you can do. Put your all into it, and sometimes things just don't work. We just can't get enough people to actually come out. Look at this beautiful second generation comma. Look at that. Oh, there it is. Oh, too late. So much different colour. First year, early season, first brood, first generation. They are much darker colour. And the late summer, the second generation. Beautiful. Oh, did you see that? A wasp actually chased it off. What a greedy thing. That's nice, isn't it?
Is that a Mexican indigo?
No, it's a proper one. So these two, the two I'm going to show you, they've just been out to a talk. They've just gone back in. and I fed them, but they've only just gone in. So probably, well, this one's not as cool as it. This one's okay. The next one's probably cooler than it needs to be. But you can see they're kind of like messing around. Not in full feeding mode because they've been out and about and have just gone back in. Well, that'll be gone. And then equally, this girl's not at her full operating temperature. And instead of strike feeding like a retic does, I just put that in there and then put her in. She's not at full temperature. And again, rather than grabbing it around the head and coiling around on forceps, she's like, what the heck? He's really trying to find out where the end is. The tips of that tongue. Taking that info back up there to the Jacobson's organ in the roof of her mouth. Feeding to her brain. Trying to work out what's what here. Very different reaction from her normal feeding response where she's already in there. And I'll just open the viv using forceps and pass food in where she launches herself out. Very different. Having to think of it, work it out. Not an instant response without thought. Now she's thinking, is this thing edible, and if so, which bit do I start with? Well, she's worked it out. What I really need now to get her new enclosure finished. It isn't finished, been a lot going on. When she's curled up asleep, she's got so much room where she is now. But when she stretches out, you kind of think, bless her. More room needed. I still need to clean the glass. But the indigo snake's thriving. It's sort of shoulder height here. He's much bolder than he's ever been now. It's also got a basking area there. Do need to clean that glass though. What a beautiful creature. Asclepian snakes are doing well. That's the melanistic male and the normal female. He's lurking in there. All is good. I do like that melanistic one though. Russian rat snakes and others are thriving outside here in the UK. Not very sunny yet, but the females being hopeful. Got to be one of the best species to keep outdoors in the UK. 4-line snakes are hiding away, very nocturnal. Fat last time, isn't she? She's still in her little. Yeah. She's just laid that and just laid them, hasn't she? Oscar, quick, look at this, real quick.
Oscar! We've got babies.
Oh, it's horrible.
Is that a mangrove in there?
No, it's a Russian. They're nice, aren't they?
It's bright
Like
yellow.
the friendly mangrove snake. Some of them are really yellow, and that's yellow under its chin, isn't it? But not so much. Look how long that one is. It goes on forever. So our long-awaited baby Brazilian rainbowers have finally bred, and I've got a guy that's been waiting 2 years for a baby one of these, so I hope he's still after one. You can see some of the rainbow hues, and it is rainy, not sunny, so we need a bit bit of sunshine, but beautiful. That's the mum, she's feeding up. And one of the many offspring. Look at that. What a beauty. Brazilian rainbow boa. You can see why it's called that.
Mickey Mouse there as well, look.
Where?
Oh, yeah.
Where?
See it there? Looks like Mickey Mouse.
No. So Tommy and I are whispering, forgetting that snakes haven't got their boys. We just dropped their food in for the week. And this time we said we're just going to sit and watch them. Now they are shy because we're here. But it just shows how these animals smell with those tongues when there's food. I have to say fish does smell, but a viperine just came whizzing out of nowhere and then shied away. A grass snake's just stuck its head out. I can't actually see it, Tommy.
There's 2 viperines coming to the bowl.
Wow. Wow, that's like that David Attenborough thing when they come out for the old hatchling lizards. Look at them two. 2 males, look. Wow. Look at that. For how long's that food been there? Literally 3 minutes?
If that, yeah. Straight
Look at that. So one thing I forgot to put in, which I normally do, and that's chick legs. Another one coming now. It's a bit meatier. Fish all seems to be quickly digested and these are getting fed once a week. But the meatier things, like when you put rat pups in there as well, it definitely fills them up a bit more. Look at these little sapphire shrimps. They're really breeding now in the little tiny aquarium. Well, they've been in there a long time now, the first few. Loads in there. Fascinating little things. Whoa. Male black rat snake that got sunburnt last year in a much more open enclosure. Very different in there because sun through the glass, of course, the UV isn't really there. And he hasn't climbed up to the top. So the pair of blue beauty snakes are outside for summer. Whoa. And they absolutely thrive outside in the UK, even on the coldest mornings in the spring, you wouldn't believe it. Come out and sunbathe. Certainly very cold tolerant species. And obviously, there's a lot more room out here than there is in most people's houses for an enclosure. 7 foot tall, 6 foot wide and 3 foot deep. And lots of natural sunlight.